Live to you. Alongside me is Lee Elder.
G'day Gilly, I'm looking forward to this. I always love finals time, but new team in the competition this year and first appearance are in the finals. Not a surprise, to be honest. They've got so much young talent, but whether they can handle the experience that Clarence have actually got today will be interesting.
We speak of experience. Clarence have been there and done it before. Of course, runner-up last year in a nail-biting grand final. They're going to have to do it a little bit differently this time around. But, yeah, big stage for North Launceston. How do you think they'll acquit themselves today?
Well, they've got a couple of real stars. They've got great football nous and experience in Maggie Cuthbertson and Jodie Clifford, and they'll certainly lead the way. The interesting point will be whether Clarence actually take a defensive mindset against those two players. But they do have young talent across the park, so they've got the ability to run. That's the most important thing for them. But I think on the inside, that's where Clarence will be able to control the game a little bit. And, of course, they've got some real goal-kicking power down there as well.
Let's have a look at the team, Lee, as it's just popped up on our screen there. Clarence, they lost a few between seasons, but they've still got a good nucleus, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. And there's some real quality actually sitting in that emergency line as well. So when you've got Talia Bortingnong not actually playing this final, that means you've got some real talent on the park. I will say, though, they've got some incredible pace. Nettie Garlow has actually played for the Devils this year. She's the fastest girl we've ever had come through the academy. Still learning a little bit of what football's all about, but she's got some real talent, that girl. I'll be a little bit surprised to see Nicole Bresnahan line up on the half-back line. I think she'll actually be rotating through that midfield and actually plonk forward a little bit to see if she can make use of her kick and score on the scoreboard as well. And Mel Wise, and I also do believe another AFL talent, which I'm looking for on the list as well, which I can't find, Jessie Williams. So one's named on the half-back flank, the other one on the wing. They're the ones that'll score the goals today. Yeah,
I did look at Jessie Williams on the wing, and last time I called these two, Clarence, Jessie Williams was the real danger inside forward 50. You'd expect to see her wander forward at some point if they're going to kick a winning score, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt that I think the lineup might be slightly different by the time they actually get into their positions, but they've got some goal-kicking power and they've got some strength inside. So I expect Clarence to win this game, but I won't be surprised if North Launceston run gives them a real challenge, especially in the first half.
Let's take a quick look at the North Launceston lineup. Just quickly, you spoke of young talent. There was a late change. Salzburger coming in the lineup for Maynard Jones. What do you make of them?
Yeah, pretty talented. So it'll be interesting to see. I expected when they first named their list at the beginning of the year that they would appear in finals. That's how much young talent they've got. And certainly the Farrow twins have got something special. Sophie Townsend in the ruck really gives them some opportunity. They've got some key forwards as well. Emily McKinnell has actually kicked 25 goals this season, and she's performed really well in the Northern Regional competition over previous years, and a noted goal kicker. And of course, as we talked about before, there's some senior bods in there that are high quality. Maggie Cuthbertson, a previous premiership player with Launceston, and she's highly touted.
So we're not far at all from first bounce here at Blunston Arena. Big stage, TSLW finals. The newcomers, North Launceston, up against Clarence, last year's runners-up. And up we go, the rucks go at it. Falls to ground level. Looking after this one was Brewer. I'll just tumble on in. Sniffing around, it was Townsend. It feeds out, come Clarence's way. They skip past through Scott. She kicks towards forward 50. Ball is jumped upon by Clifford. Might just squeeze out the back. It's not going anywhere fast. Bit of a scratchy start here. Comes to Cuthbertson, who you mentioned before. Here's Garlow eyeing it off. Cuthbertson shakes her off. Gets the ball to a teammate. Squeezed out onto a wing. North Launceston with the first meaningful foray forward. Kick inside, forward 50. A bouncing ball should be gathered by Farrow. It is. She slaps it on the boot, looking deep towards Hennessy. Hennessy has one to contend with. Does well, wins the footy, but spills out of her hand. Slapped on the boot. First score, will it be North Launceston? No. Out on the full.
And we've got a Clarence player down just inside the defensive 50. Unfortunately, it looks like an ankle or knee injury, unfortunately, but Bronte Scott for Clarence inside. There was very important work to get the first centre clearance.
So Mel Wise with the kick out from the out on the full, steers it to a teammate. That teammate is Pearce, drives it long beyond the arc. Good mark taken.
That's Oates.
Oates steers it inboard, looking in the Bresnahan direction. Bounces by her. It's well sharked upon by Harper. Chucks it on the boot. Finds a target in Johnson. Johnson just steadies the ship a little. Has a look. Has Mitchell offering on. Eventually heads that way. Brings it to ground as Mitchell. That might have been a fair cry for a free kick. None coming. Clifford looks in the direction of Cuthbertson. A little goose step and slaps it on the left boot. Gets territory. Foot race on now. Leading that one is Elliston. She'll eventually slap it towards a teammate in Bresnahan. Just deals with the opponent and breezes away. Finds a target. She's run on here, Bresnahan. She might just get it back. A handball sold her short in North Launceston hands, but not for long. Back out the side. Kick towards 50. Mitchell the target. It won't get there. Standing in the way is Anderson. So Anderson now onto the wing. Pack forms. Off hands. Williams uses her soccer skills. Just steers it towards a teammate. Doesn't quite come out in Clarence hands. That was well gathered by Cuthbertson, but equally well tackled by Clarence. Cagey old start here at Launceston Arena. The kick in board finds Bresnahan, of course, TSLW player from North Melbourne Tasmanian Kangaroos. She pokes the ball towards Prockpiece, I think it is. Just take her kick, a little nudger, looking for Williams, just at her shoelaces. She skips onto it, uses her wheels on the outside of the boot, kicks in towards a pretty vacant 50. Garlow first to it, spins around, gets some space, gets her kick away, but it's wide, well wide, out on the full.
Amy Prockpiece, that was at centre half forward, very talented player. Actually got through to the Eastern Allies this year, only under 16 player, and fair chance for her to actually be a star player for the Devils over the next couple of years.
So Scott wrestling for the footy. It was a good little battle. It'll bring about a ball up inside forward 50 for Clarence. Neither team able to score just yet. The Rucks go at it. It's down the floor where Garlow goes to work. Cagey old start, Lee.
It certainly is. A fair bit of pressure on, so it's just the decision making that's hurting both teams down a little bit, but they're both eager to get the footy.
Kick comes away. The target will be Mitchell. She doesn't fly. Squeeze out through Webley hands. It's hard footy to handle here. He eventually just spilt out. There is Prockpiece. Fires, but again, can't find the sticks.
Yeah, a couple of those players, I actually just wish they'd take the time and take the game on and start running with the footy. So there's a couple of them in Garlow and Prockpiece there that are both taking quick shots where they really could have used their legs.
So ball back in. Best position was Townsend. Got it to the floor. Garlow, here she is. Tries to get it to boot. Ran out of time. Good tackle applied by Whitney. Kick comes out of defence now. It's a good defensive mark taken by Wise. Good player. Turns and goes. Picks out a target. Just overshoots it a touch, but Williams should make this look just okay. Breezes by a couple. Fires off a shot. It might end in Clarence hands. It ends in a poster.
A little bit unlucky there. She actually really opened up the play there, but the shot just missed. I think it was more of a pass, to be honest, but the teammate wasn't there to take the mark.
So kick out comes. His hands in the back. I think that'll go against Wise. It does. It's McKinnell, who you spoke about being a real goal threat. Long way from goal on this occasion. Kick was short of Brewer. Now she's got a headache. Gets it back to McKinnell. Says clean up your mess. But she can't quite. Puts in the arms of Pearce. Back Clarence's way now. Johnson assesses the scene. Just pokes the ball in a vacant space. Decent lead off it on, but didn't work out. But the runners were all in Clarence, and it was Oates who fires and fires truly. So the first goal for Clarence. Good bit of crumbing
And great pace. Brianna Oates, premiership player with you, Norfolk under-17s last year, has moved on to the Devils this year and is a very talented player. Hits the ball very hard. Is always doing things at 100% and showed it with a pace there.
Just pokes the ball in a vacant space. Decent lead off it on. You just look there on the replay. Just good timing as well. Knew where to be. And then good execution. The shot on goal.
Absolutely. She's had a great start, Brianna Oates.
So all the scoring the way of the Roos thus far. They lead at 1-1-7. Back in the middle. The Rucks go at it. Contest half, but coming through was Clifford. Real urgency, gets the ball away. Wise arrives on the scene. Has a teammate if she wants it. Prefers just to shake off, show a bit of a party trick and kick it onto the wing. Garlow sets herself for the mark, couldn't quite gather. Coming through was Clifford again. Seems to be wearing a different number today just to keep us busy as Bresnahan jumps on top.
Yeah, she's a talented player, Jodie Clifford. Early 30s, won the Northern Regional Competition Best and Fairest in her first year last year.
Up it goes again. Ball spilling the way of Clarence. Not quite from Loams. They've got the numbers though, Clarence. Prockpiece feeds it back into traffic. Bresnahan tries to just bounce onto the footy. Couldn't quite handle the ball. Another stoppage. And
Andy Smith did outsmart me. Mel Wise, who was named on the half-back flank that I thought would be deep forward. She's on the half-back flank and playing well so far.
She is indeed, as is Bresnahan, who's playing on half-back flank. So that's where they're lining up at the moment. Just thrown on the boot, going the way of Farrow. Good defensive grab taken by Clarence through Elliston. She'll kick out to a runner, and that runner is Pearce, who has a bit of space to go to work, just spills it. Has an ally just out the back if she could get the ball that way. It was Williams too. It might have really opened up, but she was well tackled in the end.
She's been around the scene a long time now, Pearce. Been a great player. I think a triple premiership player with Clarence.
So the Rucks go at it again. Prockpiece gets on the footy. She's collected in a good tackle. The ball spelt clear. Come the way of Burrows. Just kicks the vacant space. Pearce there again. High one, it'll come down with snow on it. Someone's got to sit and wait for that. Just off the head of Oates. Sold him into a bit of trouble. Out the back is Mitchell. What can she do? Whacks it on the boot, steering towards goal. Good body work there by Westland. Ball spilt the way of North Launceston though at the full. A few roos. This is a good contest. Westland again just eyeing it off. The goalkeeper back there is Hancock. Steers it to a teammate. A panic kick falls away at Bresnahan. Should snare a goal. Misfires. Or no, it's a goal. The whistle threw me, but well finished off by Bresnahan. She was right place, right time, and did the business. And Clarence skip out to 2-1-13. North Launceston yet to trouble the scorers, as we see on the replay screen. It was well finished off. It was just whether, I think the whistle was potentially a free kick, but it mattered little as she did the job in front of the sticks.
Yeah, they let it play advantage. I think it was just a free kick with a bit of contact after she disposed of the footy. But it was true. Well done to Clarence getting the first 2 goals on the board.
They're on fire, the Roos. Won't get this clearance though, as Cuthbertson, she almost did too much and got herself in a spot of bother.
And absolute credit, that's the ruckman that actually put one of their best on ballers under pressure there.
I think looks like they're going to put a bit of time into Bresnahan as well, just off the back of the square, as that pank kick forward by Prockpiece works a treat to Mitchell. Mitchell wastes no time. Pokey one, looking for Williams, couldn't quite take the mark. At the fall was Johnson. She kicks towards the sticks and finishes off. Well, the Roos are bounding away here, Lee Elder.
Well, amazing start by Clarence. I think it's a bit of a 50-50 call in the first couple of minutes, but they really got on top with the run and play. Just using the footy really well, going inside 50, certainly kicking towards their teammates' advantage, which has really helped them put some score on the board. They've had a poor start with regards to their team structure, with one player going down, but everything else is going right for them.
So far, so good for the Roos. They've played plenty of finals footy before. Although a new look team in 2019 as they bring it out of the centre, do North Launceston. Ball in hand was Nicholson, but it went the other way for the Roos. Kick towards 50, doesn't quite get there. Chopping off was Cornish. The opposite 13 in Johnson picked it up and gave it to Williams. Now she's only got the sticks to aim at. Pretty happy with the kick, very happy with the kick, and the Roos make it 4 on the trot. Wowee, what a start.
Unbelievable, and I'm still amazed that she's actually taken the shot from 35 out. She could have actually run to about 15, 20 out, but she was smooth, she was happy, she knew she was going to kick the goal. Absolute ripper. 4 goals, 125 to no score to North Launceston. A shock, to be honest.
They had the first clearance, North Launceston, and the first shot on goal, it was out in the full, and from there it's been all Clarence. Been very, very impressive.
Who needs Mel Wise in the forward line?
Oh, yeah. It's good coaching thus far as the Rucks go at it. It was one down off Townsend hands. Again emerging with Scott. Drops it off to a ruckman. Never a wise move, I don't think. The short handball to a ruck. There's a certain stereotype that generally rings true. Is Cuthbertson now with the ball?
She'll hit a target here.
Silky user is Cuthbertson. Whacks it on that reliable left, and what a kick it was. Fantastic. Leading out, who have we got there?
And Hennessy, but no, it's over ahead.
It was Sulzberger with the kick who just poked it over the top, and it was Brewer who took the mark. So North Launceston, this is more like it.
First ever goal kicker for the Tasmanian Devils in the NAB League, and I think she'll be the first kicker for their finals campaign.
Haley Brewer, I tell you what, very casual approach, just slapped it on the boot straight through the middle, and that is exactly what North Launceston needed, just to keep in touch.
And that's just quality ball use. So we had one kick from the centre circle. She waited, she took her time, looked for a good lead. She got one, she hit up the target, and all of a sudden you've got a shot at goal.
So the Bombers strike back. Back in the bullseye. Get things restarted. 4 goals, 125, plays 1 straight, North Launceston. The Rucks go at it again. Townsend's had the better of the ruck duel to date. Clifford eyeing this one off. She's got a wrestling match on with Scott. So they've gained territory, not much else there, North Launceston, edge of the square. Townsend again, goes for the big slap. Bested this time. Cuthbertson just streams on through. Drops it off for a teammate. It was at her laces though. A bit of time to go to work here. Cuthbertson just gets it to Clifford. 2 prime movers for this North Launceston team combined. Slipping through Clifford's fingers, and that was well done by Clarence. Well negotiated. Out the side, Harper comes to Garlow. Manages to get a kick out. It's now Cornish wrestling for it. She does well, kicks the vacant space. Bresnahan there first, couldn't quite gather. It's gathered by the opposition through Whitney, and she's caught in a tackle. Another ball up, so wind howls on through here at Blunston Arena. The question mark whether conditions are favouring either end. They often do at this venue. Coming away from the contest was Farrow. Kicks inside forward 50 now, looking for a target. Arriving on the scene with Sulzberger. They're laid into this side. That's an interesting kick, but it might work. Just bounces by the intended target. Scott does well to find space. Williams has to sit under this one and wait, and she does. Appealing for 50. In the end, just takes a kick. Not her best. Waiting in the space was Cornish. It's Cornish now. Looking to uncork a genie by the looks of the approach. Goes along with a kick. That's an absolute falcon. I'd love a replay of that one, Ash, when we get a chance. Comes to Garlow. Garlow breaks away. Shows clean set of heels. The kick, unfortunately, landed in Farrell's arms. She's got herself into a bit of trouble. Can she get herself out of it? Yes. Gets a kick out onto the wing. Now what can North Launceston do? Williams, good tackle. The big ruck. Townsend arrives to apply pressure. Try and squeeze the ball out. No, she plays tackler. Umpire lets it go. You'll eventually have to call the ball up.
Bonnie Farrell, noted goal kicker, played most of her footy up forward. The interesting coaching move of moving her in defence, and she's looked quite settled there.
Tremendous tackle from Scott, sees it spill the way of the Roos. Fighting for it well at ground level early in this one. You spoke about that pre-game, Lee Elder, as being a strength of theirs. Really nice pick-up from McDonald. Kicks it towards the intended target. Johnson was a goal kicker before, as was Williams. Look at that. Round one, round two, kicks towards the square. Didn't quite get there. Held up in the wind a little bit. The kick comes away from Farrell. Doesn't really clear the danger. Gathering now is Harper. Harper fires towards goal. Doesn't get anywhere near it in the end. Again, Farrell waiting in the way. Off hands, there's a whistle. It's going to go the way of the Northern Bombers.
Quite impressed by Clarence's ruckman's work in Georgia alone. She's actually been quite impressive. Not so much in the ruck contest, but her work around the ground's been pretty good, besides receiving that hand pass that one time.
Wise gets a kick away. It's sharked by North Launceston. They might be away here now, slipping through the fingers of McKinnell. It just trickles along. They're just looking to gain territory at this point. Bresnahan arrives on the scene. Feeds out a handball. McKinnell again tries to apply pressure. It's worked well through hands. Harper now kicking along for Clarence. Off hands and well gathered. Really nice scrum from Johnson. Feeds it off. Kick towards. It might be a Loams there. Hands it out for Garlow. Goes in board. Look at the pace of Garlow. Gets the kick away. It's coming back. No, it's not. A minor score. 4-2. The Roos. And
Bronte Scott's number 11 for Clarence. Her work inside's been exceptional in the first quarter.
Well, there it is. Quarter time and a really good first term for the Clarence Roos. 4-2-26. They exploded out of the blocks with the first 4 goals of the game. North Launceston registered their first through Brewer to give themselves a chance, but a quarter that absolutely belonged to Clarence. As we have a look at a few of the first term highlights. It was nicely finished off. That was Oates. And we saw goals from Bresnahan, Johnson and Williams. So we see this one from Bresnahan. Yeah, there was a free kick afterwards, but it snuck its way home. Have you seen the first quarter, Lee Elder?
Well, as I expected, Clarence are doing really well on the inside, and would like to say that Bronte Scott and Georgia Loams have been the key two to create that to happen. And when they've got it inside 50, they just look so dangerous, and so many numbers rolling and running and providing options for them. So it looked like they've always had a bit of space. The speed from Nettie Garlow has been quite impressive. She's created a fair bit. Probably hasn't finished as well as she would like, but actually been getting fairly involved in the contest. So well done to her. For North Launceston, I think there's just a few players that have been really important for them, but just not enough across the board. And Bonnie Farrell's done a great job in defence, and we say that, and they've had 4 goals kicked on them, but most of the time she's actually ensured that her opponents sort of stayed out of it and created a fair bit of rebound. And Maggie Cuthbertson's use of the football has been superb and created their one scoring opportunity.
So there it is. That's how the first term looks. We'll have a brief break from commentary now and be back with the second stanza. Stay with us here from Launceston Arena. So back for the second quarter here from Launceston Arena. And what do we expect from the second, Lee Elder? A fast start from the Roos. Can Fonnie respond?
My expectation was North Launceston will stick with them and put them under a fair bit of pressure in the first half. Didn't happen in the first quarter, so I expect actually North Launceston to come out firing this quarter, give it everything they've got. Trying to get some balance in the midfield, so they probably need Jodie Clifford, who got a little bit of it, but they probably need her to access the footy a little bit more. But she's very much a distance runner, so she'll work into the game, but they need her to use her skills to create some better options up forward for them. So I should expect that North Launceston will work back into it, even though they are kicking against the breeze.
So here we go. Back in the middle. Umpire just waits for everyone to be in the right position. It's the custom now with the 666 ruling, or it's not 666 in this format, but rules nonetheless. The siren sounds and we start term 2. Up it goes. The rucks go at it again. Townsend gets it down to a runners. Cuthbertson now has to just try and squeeze it out. Did pretty well. Got it to Townsend. Running onto this one. Farrow squeezes out the side. Scott feeding for Mitchell. Goes inboard. Brave stuff. Finds Proc Piece. Really good. Measured kick. Nice. Really good start for the Roos. Johnson kicked one in the first. This would probably be beyond her distance. She finds an option. Doesn't quite get there. Kicked along. Scott now coming through traffic. She's pretty good at that. To contend with a couple. Picked up eventually. It's off McDonald's boot. She ran out of time. It was Cuthbertson again. Not only is she a really nice user, she's a good tackler, Lee Elder, as she brings it out of defensive 50. It's gathered there. Moved with pace and purpose, Farrow, but just ran out of time, and it's Mitchell. Pokes inboard, looking for Bresnahan. Strong hands. Bresnahan calls for Williams to go. Kicking in that direction. Might not get to her. Cut off. Picked up. Will run away through Anderson. She finds her target in Whitney. Spills out the side to the prolific goal kicker McKinnell. Townsend just slaps it back inboard. Goalkeeper back there. It's Bresnahan for the Roos. Feeds it to Mitchell. Mitchell over the top. Run of Farrow. He's got a job to do. That might have been held on too long on Clifford. Play just keeps on moving. Now with Bresnahan. Tries to get by a couple. Shows good toe. Kicks it inboard. Wise. Strong hands. Good player. Kicks towards Williams. In the middle of the ground. What can she do? Just measures a ball. Pretty good. Probably a free kick, yes. So it'll go the way of Johnson.
And a couple of important matchups that Clarence have got in the midfield. Brianna Oates, young and quick on Clifford, and Bronte Scott on Cuthbertson.
So Johnson straight down the middle. Really good defensive grab again. There's Bonnie Farrell again. Pretty good. Kicks beyond the defensive arc. Wise tries to chop it off. Not quite. Well gathered now with McKinnell. Kicks towards a really vacant forward half for the Bombers. Eyeing it off is Brewer. There she is again. She's got Bresnahan to contend with. Caught in a tackle. Climbs on top.
You've got to admire her spirit. She was no way should she be getting her hands on the footy there, but she just worked in the contest, Brewer.
Up it goes again. Well won by Townsend. Better the hit-outs. It's an interesting style. The arm saw just comes late. Goes again with the rucks. Pokes it into vacant space. The runner is Farrow. Doesn't quite gather. Mitchell bound onto this one. Kicks it straight down the middle. Target Johnson, which seems to be general sort of proceedings for the Roos. Kicking now towards Weberley. Bounced over her head. Blackburn gets the hot footy. Drops it off. Kicking deep. Side forward 50. And again, mopping up very nicely was Farrell. She'll bring it out of defence. Off hands. It's numbers with North Launceston. Jump on top. The umpire has a decision to make. He says, give it to me.
A little bit more control this quarter so far by North Launceston, but they're just not getting it deep inside 50.
So up they go again. Off hands. Ball almost gathered there by Wilson. Not quite. Coming through with Pearce. That's high. So she'll have the ball at about 45. And she got inside. Mitchell streaming straight through the middle of the early lead. She ignores that. Opts to just poke it into the hot spot, but it was mainly red and black, so a bit of a strange decision. We need to keep it locked in here. Nicely cut off by Scott. She's made something of this for the Roos. Gathered by Johnson. She'll get it on the boot. Sneaks it towards goal on the goal line. Sockered through. It was Brianna McDonald. They'll take that, Clarence. It wasn't pretty, but they'll take it.
Amazing. Brianna McDonald's been around for quite a few years and finally made her way to TSLW, and that was a superb goal. Just using her soccer skills, just great awareness in the goal square when the opportunity was there. Put the boot on it, and there's Clarence's 5th goal there, looking pretty comfortable as we speak. Georgia Loams continues to give a fair bit of work in the ruck, even though she's been outpointed in the actual ruck contest by Sophie Townsend.
There is a Loams. It's reasonably well halved. Farrow won it, but puts it straight into the arms of Bresnahan.
On the halfback front.
And it seems to be working okay because they're using her to just overload the midfield at times. She's a bit of a general back there as she kicks towards Pearce. Sockers. Gain territory as it trickles out in front of the interchange benches.
And that wind seems to be a bit stronger, so a nice lead against the breeze, and you get it for the second quarter. So it's looking pretty rosy for Clarence right now.
So Cuthbertson with ball in hand. Not a heap on for her, it must be said. She'll just kick towards the pack. She just got that right. The margin in Vera was not great at all. It's in the arms of Whitney. Whitney now. A floater towards 50. Was never destined for the arms of her teammate. As it comes the other way. Clarence boot is with Pearce now. She'll use her experience to pick out a target in Harper. It's smartly done. Harper looked at Garlow, decided to go elsewhere in the finish. It was long, off hands. It's gathered by Pearce again, kicking towards 50. Who's the target? Bit of a chaos ball inside 50 so far. McDonald, she kicked the most recent one. That's not a bad effort screwing it back, but it's in the arms of Farrell, and she wastes no time. It's picked up in the wind. It's with Clifford now. She gets ball to boot. Almost travelled a fair way as well, but wise. Well, she was wise to it. Grabbed the footy. Broke away, kicks it out in front of her target. Pretty hot footy to handle. Cry for out in the full. I don't think the umpire's going to pay that as it was slapped on by Elliston.
She was a little bit defensive there, so it might have actually been out on the full.
So ball to be thrown in. 5-2-32 to one straight. That's the picture as it stands. Ball back in. Off hands, Mitchell eyeing it off, not quite. Cuthbertson's been prolific, but Mitchell was right on her there. She comes back the other way, skips round one, slaps it on the boot, bouncing towards McKinnell. Nice crumb, drops it off to the late in Sulzberger. Kicking towards goal, a bouncing ball first to it. Right on the seam was Hardner. She'll negotiate it nicely. Minor score.
Well defended too. She just kept strong over the ball, making sure the forward couldn't get use of the football, especially so close to the goals there.
So the designated kicker here is Wise. Kicks towards the arc, never got there. I think she underestimated the wind on that occasion. It was straight down the throat of Anderson. Kicks towards a pack. Numbers were with Clarence, but winning out was North Launceston. Sulzberger into the lineup, nicely caught. See her efforts on goal here. Strange approach, never looked like it, I've got to say. A minor score, that is an opportunity that's gone begging.
She looked very confident taking that mark, but not so confident taking the shot at goal.
So Wise this time goes longer with her kick. Gets good purchase on this one. Wrestle for the footy on the outer side. Guess who? Cuthbertson slapping on that left boot towards 50. Off the hands of Harper. Trying an interesting looking kick was Elliston. Just ran out of tarmac. thrown in. So in comes the ball. After the goal umpire, the boundary umpire realises he has to march in a bit closer.
They wouldn't want it to go over the back. I think North Launceston are really well structured here.
Got all the numbers. It goes well over the rucks. Cuthbertson was just sniffing around it out the back. Doesn't get to a Scott. Manages to get a kick away. Blackburn soccering the wrong way for Clarence. Another soccer by Westland. It's pretty interesting footy that, but it gets it out of that traffic. Good tackle applied by Williams. She goes again, doing the right things out there just to make sure the North Lonnie numbers don't win out. Here she is again on the boot. Gets good distance, bouncing over her intended target, Johnson. Keeps on rolling. Now in North Launceston, hands through Mackenzie. Caught in a tackle. Will hold things up.
Credit to North Launceston, they've really put a lot more pressure on this quarter, as would have been expected, but it's a big breeze they're working against.
Up it goes again, the rucks go at it. It's Townsend who got it down to Brewood. Squirts it out the side. Will be gathered eventually by Harper. She tries to keep it alive or disguises it well, one or the other. Thrown in again. So North Lonnie probably been better value in this quarter. Margin still remains pretty fearsome. 4 even goals as it comes in again. Harper in the ruck for a little stint for the Roos. Wrestling for the footy was Mitchell.
She's such a hard worker, Hayley Brewood. High quality person, got some, for a young player, got some great leadership abilities, and she's really working herself into the game here.
Up it goes again, off hands. Hard footy to win there. Gathered by Scott. She tends to win the hard footies. Found space when there was none. There's Jessie Williams kicking towards 50. Nicely cut off. It was Hancock. Just pops it on the boot. It's a dangerous kick. It's led in Clarence now. Williams is out the back. What can she do here? Goes for a little goose step and feeds over the top. Coming through traffic. Now back for Williams. Jinx it by one. That was not bad, but it didn't quite get the proc piece. They'll get out of dodge, North Launceston. Kick comes away, but Wise is the brick wall back there, and she'll switch it across to Bresnahan. Those two look class above in the back half. Just whacks it on the boot. Deep, looking toward the Garlow direction. Went over her head. Now she'll apply a tackle. Forward 50 stoppage for the Roos.
I saw their names on the half-back flank and thought, no, he's kidding himself, but he was right, I was wrong.
He's got those ones right as Garlow sniffing around the footy. Blackburn now gets it out. Mitchell did okay, but found red and black instead of red and white. Comes off Brewood's boot. Salzberger, nice pickup. Feeds out to Clifford. Just too hot to handle for Clifford. The campaigner gets the kick away. Looking towards McKinnell. Off her hands. I'll wrestle for the footy. Salomas. Oh no, proc piece. Will be a stoppage.
Young Lucy's been quite impressive this quarter. I've never seen this from her before, so she's having a great final.
Just an update on that injured player. It was Standen. It was a knee injury and the ambulance is on the way, so that's never a good sign. Lee, as Clarence try to move it through Oates, and she's caught and holding the ball.
No, never good news. We hope she's okay and recovers quickly.
So the kick comes away off Wilson's boot to the outer side. Wise again first to it, shakes off the tackle with ease. Proc piece over the top for Williams. A couple of the Clarence guns combine, and that is a nice kick. Finds McDonald. Well, it's a long way from where she kicked her last goal. Williams now gives it a ride from right on 50. Got about 40 of the kick. Couldn't get the rest as Farrell jumps in and takes another defensive mark. Been handy. almost just got it right for Cuthbertson. Cuthbertson now kicking towards her intended target, which is Carly Farrow. Slips by her and into the hands of Anderson. Now with Bresnahan, fires out a handball, finds Elliston. Elliston inside forward 50. Free target there was Westland, doesn't quite work out. There's Webberley, just trying to keep it locked in for the Roos, and she does enough.
Yeah, their defensive structure seems so much better this quarter, obviously only letting the one goal through, but they just look much better organised.
So up they go again, the Rucks go at it. Good hit out the way of the Roos there. Here's Garlow, slips by, whacks it on the boot. It's the wrong side of the post. It will be out of bounds. It will be thrown in, I'd imagine.
She looks very dangerous, Garlow. Just got to get better use out of her disposal, but certainly getting the hands on it a fair bit and uses the pace well.
Yeah, if she can get that kicking right, should be a real danger as the ball comes in again. Townsend will have the ruck all on her own. That's a strange old hit out. Bounces towards Williams. Keeps alive. Williams on the burst. Oh, almost something special from Jessie Williams. The woodwork, her enemy on that occasion. Extend their advantage by just a minor score. So from full back comes Farrell. Squirted out the side. They'll wrestle for the footy. Eyeing it off out there was Burrows. Won well by Clarence. Bouncing ball inside. The target was Webberley. She was bested on this occasion. Really good work by Hancock. They come with real purpose here, North Launceston, but they've got no target inside forward 50. Wise flicks it out. She's a good player. Bresnahan now kicking right out in front of Garlow and saying, use your wheels. Just went the fresh airy. But they'll keep it locked inside forward 50 or the Roos.
North Launceston just need to hold them up just a couple more minutes and they can have the breeze in the third quarter to get back in the game.
Here's Clifford. She's tackled straight away. Hasn't been given too much space to go to work today. Been good inside Clarence. There she is again, Clifford. Just got her hands away. Scott, real quick hands. Comes to Prockpiece. Prockpiece, deep entry, bouncing. Oh, it sits up. And it's a minor score. Just couldn't quite get it from hand to foot in time before crossing the line on that occasion. Clarence looked the more dangerous side. Come out again. It's Farrell. Really good mark taken for Loans. So she kick inside forward 50. Again, they just kick it towards Farrell, but it drops nicely for Prockby. Shows some speed and some poise and puts it straight through.
You missed one word there, and that was class, because that's what Amy Prockpiece is. She's a real class player, only under 16 this year, and is certainly in the top half dozen in the Devils lineup. A bit of height too, she can play key position, but as we see today, she's actually playing midfield for in a senior competition. So the girl can run, the girl can kick, she can mark. She's a real talent, that one.
So half-time here at Blunston Arena, 6-4-40, the Roos in complete control. North Launceston 1-8. The goal kickers will get those up. It's been 6 individual goal kickers for Clarence. They've showed some real goal-kicking power. We've only got the 5 on the board there, but it's Oates, Bresnahan, Johnson, Williams, McDonald, and the latest there, Prockpiece. Brewer, the only one to get it through the big sticks for North Launceston. A really good half of footy. How did you see it?
Yeah, it looked very impressive by Clarence, to be honest. It wasn't much improved quarter by North Launceston there. There's no doubts about that. But look, their halfback line working so well. Mel Wise and Nicole Bresnahan sweeping everything up there. There's an equivalent in the North Launceston team, but they're doing it quite deep. And so that's Bonnie Farrell. She's been quite impressive. Maggie Cuthbertson doing a fantastic job as well for the Bombers. But unfortunately, the class right across the board is being proven to be Clarence today, and they've been the better team by a fair whack, and that's why they're 5 goals up.
Yeah, 5-2 advantage as it stands at the major break. We'll have a break from commentary right now, and we'll be back with the second half. Stay with us here from Launceston Arena. So back for the second half here from Launceston Arena as spectators make their way off the field and the players make their way back on it. Launceston not quite out of the sheds yet. Or am I imagining that? No, I don't think they've emerged yet. Umpire's been out for a while as Clarence go into a huddle, and they'll be pretty happy with how things have unfolded thus far, Lee Elder.
With the exception of the injury, yes, of course. I mean, it'd be interesting to see whether that actually has an impact on their rotations. Obviously, very large ground, only 16 aside. You're down to 3 on the bench, and how does that impact your run? But look like a class above today. Obviously, there is some talent within the North Launceston group, and Maggie Cuthbertson's certainly been a standout player for the game. But I just don't see where they can really get on top. They can keep that pressure up as they done, but it didn't stop the Clarence inside 50. It just meant they were less effective going inside as they probably were in that first quarter. But Clarence have got the talent. They've certainly got what seems to be the inside measured up, and players like Garlow, Bresnahan seem to be covering, and Jesse Williams seem to be covering the outside pretty well, which I thought might be a bit of a strength of North Launceston's today. But they can only keep working. I think the margin's probably too much, but you never know what can happen in a game of footy and with one team, with one player down.
It's a big mountain to climb, that's for sure. 6-4-40, 1-8 the equation. So North Launceston needs some sort of second half to climb on top of this Clarence team that's, nicely put. They've been a fair bit better inside, I reckon, and have been superior on the outside where you thought potentially North Launceston could climb on top.
Absolutely, and I think part of why they've looked so good on outside is their disposal efficiency's been very good, and that comes from your smarts with Bresnahan and Jesse Williams type.
So back underway here at Launceston Arena. Rucks go at it. Townsend wins it down. Cuthbertson wins the footy. Clearance the way of North Launceston, but as has so often been the case today, straight down the throat of Wise. She drops it off to Elliston. Kicks towards Williams. Couldn't quite bring it under a spell. 1 now, and here they go, North Launceston through Clifford. Kick over the top, looking for the runners. Arriving on the scene is Sulzberger. Drops it off to the dangerous McKinnell. Gets a kick away, doesn't quite reach its intended target. Gathered now, and good bit of work. Nicely done, really well finished off.
Cara Hennessy.
Cara Hennessy showed real style with that turn and goal, and gives North Lonnie a bit of life as they start this second half.
Another one of those under 16 players in the Devils program this year. She's known to be a really strong overhead mark, but positioning hasn't been great today, but used her body really well. Left footer, which always surprises a few players when they turn on the left, but used the ball really well to score their second goal.
So back underway, Cuthbertson onto this one. What can North Lonnie do? Can they get a couple in a hurry? Clifford in and under, doing the work. Scott the other way. Good battle. Clifford on the end of this thanks to a good tackle. Kicking long. Gets off hands. They just keep on scrumming it forward here. North Launceston. Here's Bresnahan. Oh, she might be in trouble. Ran herself into a spot of bother, did Bresnahan. And North Launceston have another good look at the sticks.
And the difference here is Clifford has been hugely important inside. So she's had 2 clearances, and they've had 2 opportunities to have shots at goal.
So Wilson's kick was a shocker, looking for Sulzberger, and Clarence might get themselves out of a sticky situation. Still trying harder, North Launceston. The kick back in from the latest goal kicker, Hennessy, offline. But all the scoring so far this term the way of the Bombers. So Wise from full back. 6'4", 3'15". She's allowed to just march out. Not sure I would have given her 23 metres. She kicks towards Williams. Off hands. And they'll force another stoppage.
Be interesting to see if this little burst of excitement actually powers him to have a really strong third quarter.
So down off hands again, the way of North Launceston. It's gathered by Harper, throws it on the boot, doesn't get much distance, but works out okay. Prockpiece makes good of it. Takes a good grab, steers inboard. Nice ball. You hear that in the voice of Lee Elder. Was happy with that one. This kick, I was looking for Mitchell. Bresnahan interrupted it, then tried to say, oh, it should have been yours in the first place, have it back. Not quite. What looked like a promising move, brought unstuck.
Just a lack of communication between the two that sit about 3 metres away from each other.
That's true. Comes out the back. It's the first time you'll hear a lack of communication from Nicole Bresnahan. Usually talks too much as the kick comes away for the boot of Cuthbertson. Couldn't quite find her intended target in Clifford.
I know it's early on, but they've actually just got a little bit of control inside, so it'll be interesting to see if that remains.
Here's Bresnahan. Oh, a bit of fire. A bit feisty. Slaps it on the boot. Has a free player out there, but doesn't get there because Cuthbertson's standing in the way. Off that reliable left.
Great
Picks
kick.
out her target with perfection. It's Farrow. Runs herself into a bit of trouble. In the end, manages to squeeze out a hand pass. Clifford tries to keep it alive. Scott now. Just steers the ball inside to Harper. Harper now. Looks down the line for Williams. Done well to take a grab in that. And a couple of North Launceston players riding shotgun. So here's Williams, just jinx round one. Gets her kick away. Beautiful pass for Mitchell. So Mitchell, as the players stream back towards goal, what will she do? Just pokes it into vacant space. It wasn't a bad idea, but well read in the finish by Ella McKenzie. Drops it off to Farrell. Long and strong. And straight into the arms of Wise. She's just a footballer. Just reads it so well. Puts this one on the boot. I've put the mockers on her. It's spilt out of the hands right there of Anderson. We'll get it moving North Launceston. Here they go. Here's a golden opportunity. Not much to aim at. Putting on the boot was Salzberger. Bouncing ball towards Hennessy. Hennessy has to gather. Oh, the opposing player lost her footing. Hennessy now runs herself into a spot of bother. Got to get it on the boot. Can't. It should have been a North Launceston goal.
It's a left footer's curse, isn't it?
Just had to try and get ball to boot. Didn't quite happen. That is a very gutsy kick from full back, but Elliston takes the grab. And here they move. Clarence, Pearce over the top. That's to no one but red and black. Cuthbertson brings it down, bursting through. That's nice stuff from Pearce. Gets distance. Farrell's read that straight off the boot. She's done that all day. Being one of the shining lights for North Launceston. Kicks out onto the wing. Has picked her target very well. They've got some great users in this team. I know you've said it all day, but very nice. And again, commentary mockers, because that was not good use. From 117 to the other, and it's Elliston now. Looking in the direction of Mitchell. Brings it down. Sniffing around the footy. It's just sprayed out by Hancock. Here's Williams. What can she do? Kicks over the top. The target there is Harper. She'll eventually get to it. Back for Williams. Just keeps it alive. Can't quite handle it. Soccer's back to Harper. They get it down the line. Webberley almost takes the mark. Wrestling for the footy. It comes out of her arms. Here's Williams again. Kicks it. Not getting a lot of distance on these kicks. The wind not working for the Roos in this quarter. Webberley climbs on top. Stoppage.
An absolute credit to the North Launceston coaching team. If anyone talked about Bonnie Farrell going back in defence, to Bonnie Farrell only 6 months ago, her confidence would have been shot. But she looks very confident in that position now, and that's an absolute credit to the club.
Looks very comfortable. Playing a starring role for the Bombers. They've risked their way back into this game, but geez, that last goal that they should have had would have really helped things. Score still strongly favouring the Roos as they get a kick away, North Launceston, but not much distance. Here's Elliston. She's caught, gets a handball out, coming the other way from Farrow. Kick just over the head of Clifford, and Pearce just bursts through, kicking towards Garlow. Sort of split the gap between Garlow and Mitchell, but Garlow, great tackle. She's an eager beaver. She wants to play on. Can just poke over the top. Just short of the intended target. Still danger here for North Launceston. They've got to just keep it locked down. They'll climb on top. It'll be a stoppage. Fantastic tackle.
Absolutely.
As you see on the replay screen, just ragdolled her. Maybe should have gone back and taken a kick, but not to be. Alone brings it down. Coming through, Mitchell read it like a book. Didn't quite gather the footy. And they'll force another stoppage.
I think North Launceston have got a couple of very talented kickers. I think everyone else in the team should be going long and strong and try to put it to their advantage.
So, ball gathered deep in defence for North Launceston. It's Clarence now. Try and manufacture a shot through Liza Westland. Didn't quite work out. Trying to move it out of defence now. Clifford just forces it over the top for Farrow. Caught in a tackle. So Clarence do well just to keep it nestled in their forward 50. If they can manage to get a goal against the flow of play, make it really hard. It's down off Clarence's hands. Mitchell there slapping down. Be another stoppage, you sense, with Clifford. Look at that tackling prowess.
Only takes one more goal this quarter to North Launceston, and they'll feel like at three-quarter time they're in a sniff for this game.
No questions. The ball comes up again. Last time the two teams met, Alfoni managed to get the chocolates, but it was much different conditions to today as Scott's handball comes out the side. Mitchell, good tackle. So 6-4-40 plays 2-3-15. One more goal could light a fire under North Launceston. So they go again. It's gathered by McKinnell. Just gets a long boot on it. Valuable territory. Foot race on here. First to it is Clarence through Malin Westland. Comes down. Almost gathered by Anderson. Not quite. Out the back. Handball over the top. Looking for Farrow. Clarence win out again. They're away now. A little pokey ball over the top. Looking for Johnson. Well done in the finish by Hancock. Cut off what looked like a promising movement. Just got the kick away in the nick of time did Farrow. The goal kicker Hennessy. Strong tackle, but an illegal one, I sense. Yep, it'll go the way of Wise. So Wise ball. Should be Wise to spread on this side. Didn't quite get there. Off the hands of Brouard. Sniffing around his Bresner hand. She's going in like a, I don't know what. Going very aggressively. Bat out of hell. Something like that. As it comes out the side. Eventually the stoppage comes. Just throwing her weight around.
Absolutely. You rarely see that from Nicole too. She's a high quality player. She is intense, but you normally don't see her using a body like that. Well done to her.
Intense, you reckon? Okay. As it comes out the side, handball comes out. Line off was Wise. Gee, she's been good. Slaps it out in the finish. And Garlow, while her kicking might need some work, her tackling doesn't. Fantastic.
And it's something she's added into her game recently too, is that defensive pressure.
The Rucks go to work again. Garlow just sniffing on the outside, but Clifford does well. Little toe poker. Somehow gets it to Cuthbertson. Maybe lucky to get away with it. Now with Scott. Scott gets a kick away, but it lands in Bomber arms. And it's Farrow again. She's been pretty busy. Drops it off. Clifford has space to assess the scene. Low flying ball. Almost worked for the Bombers. I'll lock it in there, the Roos.
And McKinnell looks like she's starting to get a bit closer to goal, which I think will be hugely important for them. She's been playing up the ground a fair bit.
So up it goes again. Wrestling for the footy. The issue is clearances are hard to get. They need a quick clearance and a deep kick. Easier said than done. So down off hands. Here is McKinnell. Shakes off one, tries to shake off another. Ran into trouble. Really good tackle by guess who?
Wise.
She's been unreal as she switches it out. Finds her target, Elliston. She'll try and find Williams, but she was in a pretty average spot. Loam spilt the mark. Comes back the other way from Farrow, but it should have been gathered by Pearce. Wasn't. Drops down for Wise. Good tackle applied. Just shoved off it. Good follow-up by Wise. Pearce gets the kick away. This one will be a hard ball to handle. Williams eventually gets a kick away in the nick of time. Blackburn keeps it moving. Now they've got the extra. Loams can kick and look
Johnson.
for the goal kicker. McDonald went over her head. Almost there for Mitchell. Not quite. McDonald now trying to trace it down. Comes out the back. Mitchell working hard for it. Just tries to get it away. Johnson was the player out the back as you forecast. Gathers the footy. Slaps it on the boot. I tell you what, that would have been something special. But it is a minor score.
She was roaming towards a goal square on her own. Only one disposal was needed by Clarence and would have sealed the game.
A big kick from Farrell finds the dangerous Cuthbertson.
Clifford's next.
See if Clifford is the next link in the chain. Over her head, it's Farrow. There is Clifford, running on through. Just looking for distance, you sense there with that kick. It was gathered by Clarence through Westland. Gets her kick away. Bouncing ball, gathered by Clifford. Clifford, a little one, steers it. It was all Clarence. It was Wise and Bresnahan. Wise ran into traffic and ran into trouble. So good tackle, timely tackle. Nicholson just pokes it on the boot. That's been picked up in the wind. All Clarence out the back though. They should be able to negotiate this one. Garlow. She uses her speed. Gets away. The kick is good enough, but just splits the gap between two Clarence players. Will be picked up by Farrell. Fires out a handball. Here's Cairns in trouble. It'll be a ball up.
Two ex-Scottsdale players looking for each other there.
Well, won well by Clarence in the ruck contest towards Mitchell, soccering. And good tackle applied by Cornish. Climbing on top with Oates. So, what are we? 15 gone in this term. So the ruck contest is won by North Launceston, but the ball goes the way of the Roos. They just get the handball out there, North Lonnie. Handball comes back in ball by Oates. Foot race on, Clifford first to it. Has Scott to deal with. Scott's got her. Really good tackle.
I don't know if Bronte's got the distance here. She might need to look to pass.
She doesn't look confident with the kick. In the end, she takes it on. Will it get the journey? It's touched. So you called that one well, Lee Elder, and it just keeps things alive for North Lonnie. A goal probably would have spelled doom. So Cuthbertson, they look for her on every occasion. That one has not gone far enough into the arms of Wise. She switches and finds Bresnahan. Bresnahan pops one over the top. I'll take your pick. Lands in the arms of Johnson, and she kicked one earlier on. Fancy she might just finish this one off and make it very, very hard for North Lonnie.
And good communication. Could have been a pretty ugly collision there. Both Clarence players going for the ball pretty strong.
So Johnson wasn't her best kick. Williams pouncing on the footy. Williams gets the kick away. was a snap that never looked destined for goal. Cuthbertson not keen to rush the behind. Takes it away. Kicking again to Farrow. Carly Farrow's tried hard all day. Was snared by Clarence player. Just waiting for the footy was Johnson. Didn't know there was North Launceston players bearing down. Gather it eventually. Clarence through Wise. Gets some space. Wise, powerful boot towards goal. McDonald the target. Blackburn there. Can she sock her? I think that's a clumsy goal. I'm not sure she knew the ball was there when it touched her boot, but it matters little. It's a goal for Clarence.
You don't have pictures in the scorebook, but unfortunately our vision does.
As we see it again, I'm not sure she meant the kick, Blackburn, but it doesn't matter. A goal for Clarence Roos, and one that's going to make it real tough going for North Launceston, who, despite all their good efforts in that quarter, didn't close the gap enough, you sense, Lee Elder.
No, unfortunately, it was just the one goal too many for Clarence there, I feel. Certainly a much better quarter by North Launceston. They really did put the pressure on. They got a fair share of the balance inside, and I think part of that was the lifting of the work rate from Jodie Clifford, which I did say she is that endurance athlete and she's just going to work into games. Certainly had a magnificent third quarter. Maggie Cuthbertson, Bonnie Farrell kept on doing what they were doing through the first half, which really made North Launceston look a much better outfit, there's no doubt. And a superb goal by Cara Hennessy, who'll be ruined the fact that she didn't actually get two. It was a great little contest, and unfortunately the next one was great pressure by Clarence. But Clarence just kept up their work rate. Mel Wise has been absolutely superb today on the half-back flank, and she almost created that goal there too in the forward line. So Clarence, I think, are home. I think there's no doubt that one goal probably just put it too far away from North Launceston, but they won't quit. We saw it in that third quarter. They'll keep trying hard.
It's probably important for Clarence, if they're going to try and forge their path to a grand final this year, that they go on and win this well.
Yeah, absolutely. Build that confidence. And what I like to see is so much really good outside run and effective disposals today. It's been superb. It's incredible how much the standard of footy has improved over the last couple of years.
No question. So the goal kickers, 7 individuals. You can't fit them all on the screen there for Clarence, in addition to the ones that are out there. We just saw a very lucky finish from Gemma Blackburn. I'm not sure she knew a heap about it. And the other one is Amy Prockpiece. It's also hit the scoreboard. Just the 2 goal kickers and 2 goals for North Lonnie. They were really good, and they probably didn't stack it on the scoreboard just how good they were in the early part of that quarter. But Clarence wrestled back the momentum, and they stay well in control. It's it's going to be a tough task for Clarence beyond this point, Lee Elder, particularly with Launceston and the way they've played so far this year, undefeated, of course, through the regular season. It's tough to mount a case for anyone really getting close to them, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. They've been a remarkable team since day one this year. They've just got so much high-end talent, and obviously the inclusion of Libby and Chloe Wells just takes that to another level. So with Daria Bannis, you're talking 3 AFLW listed players and quite a few that are future players, including Mia King, who unfortunately won't be playing finals this year, but that just shows you how much depth that they have got. And goal-kicking power is quite impressive in that list. But don't underestimate what Glenorchy can do. Obviously, last year's premiers. I'm sure that they'll come out fighting again. They've got some real experience, and I'm sure they'll try to rattle the cage next week, and we'll see what happens. But certainly Launceston go into the finals as favourites. There's no doubt about that.
No, so Clarence, well, we think from here they'll get the chocolates and move on into the next phase of finals. And really, the big question will be whether it's them or Glenorchy, you sense, going through to the big dance. And they're pretty evenly matched, aren't they, Clarence and Glenorchy? Clarence probably haven't played their best footy when they've come up against the Magpies, but I reckon that's a pretty well a flip of the coin if they both play at their best.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't think Glenorchy have probably got as many outside runners as what Clarence can actually put together, but you talk about famous families. The Barwick family at Glenorchy have got some impressive names currently playing on that team, so they can show a fair bit of outside run and pace. But I think it'll be a case of who can control whose forward line, because both of them have got some goal kicking power on their day. And I think that'll be the difference. So it'll be a really interesting clash if those two are in the preliminary final.
We also see just the TSL Glenorchy players and Lauderdale players warming up right now on the ground. The stream for that game will follow. Head to AFL Tasmania YouTube and TSL Facebook page for that stream. This game still has a quarter to run though. So North Launceston, well, we're talking as if the game's over. It is difficult to mount a case for them from here. They need probably a scoreless quarter from Clarence to get the job done. Really, what are they going to have to do? Probably triple their scoring for the day in one quarter. So it is difficult to mount a case, but funny things happen in this game of footy.
Momentum is a strange beast at times.
There's no game like it in terms of momentum, I reckon. Aussie rules footy. It's two TSL teams make their way off the ground and we get ready to roll in this last quarter. Clarence lead it 7-6-48. North Launceston 2-3-15, their first year in the competition. Got a lot to build off, even if today doesn't end with a win.
Such a young list too.
Keep them together, add a few little pieces around the edges, and who knows next year as it goes up again. The ruck duel continues, streaming through nicely. For the Roos was Harper, handed over the top. Cuthbertson gathers for North Launceston. First clearing kick towards 50. That'll be a free kick against Wise. Chopping the arms, so we'll go the way of Farrow. Farrow slaps it on the boot, long and deep. He's looking for her intended target there in Whitney. It'll be Clarence who make their way out of dodge. Or will they? Cuthbertson waits in the way, wastes no time on the reliable left. Maggie Cuthbertson, fantastic. Kicks the first of the last for the Bombers.
An absolute credit to one of the Farrow twins who actually made sure they got in front of Mel Wise rather than her taking an uncontested mark. And that's the way you work off halfbackers that are doing the cleaning up for you, is make sure that you're in front of your opponent. Exactly what she did, which created that scoring opportunity. And of course, Maggie Cuthbertson, such a class footballer.
Well, if they're going to come back and win this one, they needed the first, and they needed it quickly. So first part of the job done. Gathering in the middle was Harper for the Roos, spilling out, and it came to Cliff and then to Cuthbertson. She feeds over the top to Breward. Here is Breward. Has time and space. Kicks early towards Hennessy. Not quite. Comes out off the Clarence boot and bounces out towards Harper. She gathers, screws it inside. Wrestle for the footy. Going in hard always is Clifford. She's a workhorse.
Certainly is. I expect her to run and look even better this quarter.
So up it goes again. Down off hands. The ruck almost gathered. It's Proc piece that fed it back inside. Williams gathers. This way, that away. Gets a hand out. Comes to Cuthbertson. She goes out the back. Kick inside forward 50. Really good attack on the footy. Maybe a shout for a free kick. Just fired off a kick, did Whitney. And again, Clarence had the numbers. Or has she run herself into a bit of trouble here? Mellon Westland. Kick out, side of 50 and straight again to Cuthbertson. Knack of finding the footy. Measured ball into the pack. Arriving was Sulzberger. Brings it down. Garlow with the ball now. They wrestle. Be ball up. So North Lonnie started this term well. Real energy and purpose. The ruck has it on her own, but breezing on through was Bresnahan. Terrific footy. The kick keeps on bouncing. Got serious territory from that one. Burrows onto it. Gets the handball out. Clarence, though, have Williams there. If they can feed her, she can use her pace.
You feel there's just one bit of class that just takes the momentum away from North Launceston here, but like the way they've started the last quarter.
So the rucks to go at it again. It was well won by Townsend. Comes out the back. Proc Peace tried to get it out. No, it wasn't Proc Peace. It was Harper rather. Ball inside. Here's Clifford. Has a bit of space to measure her kick. Just bouncing out in front of Whitney. She brought it into her arms and she's tackled from both sides. So it'll be ball up. It was well done. They'll go again. Down off hands. Cuthbertson claimed in a Bresnahan tackle. Coming through was Townsend. Back for Cuthbertson. Gets a kick away in the nick of time. They've got the numbers, Clarence. Should be able to work through this one. Hardner has Hennessy all over her. Drops it back. Oh, they've run into a spot of bother, the Roos. Managed to force a stoppage.
Well trapped.
And the numbers. So
I like the way they're structured, North Launceston too. Quick kick out for Clarence. It's popping straight back in.
So that stoppage didn't amount to much at all. Thrown in now. Bit of breeze here at Blunston Arena. In comes the ball. Townsend, as she has all day, wins the hit out. Into the path of, I think it's Clifford. Trying to get a kick away. It was Whitney, in fact. Comes back the other way for Clarence. Williams the target. Brings it to ground. Looking for Elliston. There she is. Claimed in a tackle. Spills out the side. Williams just trying to force the footy Clarence's way. It's hard going. The breeze blowing to the left of screen.
You can see the pressure lift too. Players are getting a little bit more desperate, want to square this game away.
So in it comes again. Townsend has it on her own, but knocks it straight to a Clarence player. Now it's with Johnson. She does well. Looks back for Scott. She eventually gathers. Opts not to take Bresnahan. Kicks ahead of the footy. Here is Bresnahan. Nice fast hands over the top. Gathered by Scott. She kicks towards 50. Garlow arrives. Good tackle. Williams out the side if they can get it to her. Scott now. She goes exactly where I was looking. Williams. Can't quite bring the ball under a spell. Eventually gathers. Drops it off to a teammate. And they'll force a stoppage.
You could actually sense it there. It was just that one clean disposal and she was away.
So up it goes again. This one was won by Loams and almost for Mitchell. Here's Clifford. A lot of space for her to go to work. Kicking over the top. Not a bad bit of use. Not a lot of numbers there for the Bombers. And Garlow will take the footy. Manufactures a kick. Cuthbertson cuts it off. Puts a handball over the top of her intended target.
Great tackle.
It was Anderson who was in trouble as soon as she gathered the footy. Really good tackle from Darcy Elliston. So Elliston has Bresnahan with a short burst on a lead. Ignores that. Goes long to the numbers. Almost gathering is Johnson.
Jesse Williams,
finish.
here it is.
Over the top to Williams, bursts through and misfires. That would have been curtains for
Almost.
North Launceston. An
Just
explosive
love
player.
the way she hit it at pace though. That was beautiful.
She's very good at that, Williams. Nicely chopped off by the Roos. Elliston again, a couple of real nice involvements in recent times. She's just going to go along to the top of the square and Williams the target. She can get out the back. Be good to see. Ball just trickles its way over. So what is it? 28 points the margin. Well, we're waiting for a goal to put it to bed, but it's very, very, very unlikely as it's off hands. Almost there for Oates. Coming away from the congestion was Clifford. Gets a kick. She might mop up her own work. It'll be a Clarence ball.
And really the difference in this game was finals experience. Clarence just started the game so well, got ahead by 4 goals, and that's the difference now.
Bresnahan, absolutely terrific. Took a great grab, just faked a little, well, you saw the marks there, and then just played on with a burst and hit the target. Quality player. So Clarence to put this one to bed. Off the boot of Johnson. Steers it through. And if it wasn't over, it is now. Johnson with her second of the day. And the Roos, well, they're going to win this ball game.
They certainly are, but North Launceston should not be disappointed. It's only their first year of the competition. They were part of the Under-18 Development Series in 2018, which helped build this young list. They've kept them well, they've kept them together, and they're certainly deserving of playing in the finals. And the reality is just a lack of experience probably early in the game, which allowed Clarence to get the inside, gave them a bit of a margin that was just too far to catch up. But their pressure in the last 3 quarters have been tremendous.
Ball comes away off Bresnahan's boot, bouncing. Mitchell with real pace was coming through. Webberley has tackled well today, I've got to say. I don't know if she's had a touch, but she would have had 4 or 5 really good tackles. So the ruck duel again. Clarence looking to just add further punishment on the scoreboard. Dying embers of this game. Comes out the side. Webberley gathers the footy. She'll try and slap it on her boot. Probably a throw. Sulzberger trying to gather. Coming away. Work Clarence. Here's Johnson again. Not quite in her arms. It's off the boot of McKinnell. She picks out her target. Sophie Farrow. Farrow slaps on the boot. Strange old spinning ball. Gee, she's done well to mark that. That was a tough one to gather for Tiffany Whitney. She whacks it on the boot. Kicking towards a target there, and Farrell, who looks to be have swung forward. It's gathered by Farrow, and she's caught in a tackle.
Obviously a move just to try and get a bit more score on the board. She performed so well in defence, and it was worth a shot.
Why not? As in the ruck now. This time it's Hennessy going to work. In there is Scott. Gee, she works hard in and under all day. Garlow, well, she threw that out. Bresnahan takes the ball and kicks the vacant space, and Brewer arrives. So Brewer hooks up. Fair few flat feet. Kicking towards Farrell. Won't get the journey as Bresnahan is there.
Her actions there were saying, no, Nettie, it's mine.
Yeah, give it to me, I'm the big dog. Oh, she might be in trouble there. Just gets a kick away, but she's going to get 50 because...
The move on, play on.
Yeah, so it was a move on, not play on, and Farrell was confused. And maybe fortuitous for Bresnahan, but she'll take advantage, kicks towards Williams, tried to just shield the ball. It's now out for North Launceston, and an unconvincing kick off the boot of Nicholson might put them back in danger. McDonald just gets the kick away. Here's Williams. What can she do? Some late fireworks. Unselfish, gets over top to Johnson. Play on call. Gathered now by Harper. Back for Johnson. Ball blocked. It's caught in between her legs. Be a ball up. Forward 50. So up it goes. Loams arrived late and arrived well. Came out. Try and get a shot away here, Clarence. They've kicked a fair few goals today, but haven't really had a likely avenue. They're not absolute target. Probably Williams, but she's played mainly on a wing as good tackle applied here by Oates.
Yeah, they certainly put their quality on the half-back and through the midfield today. Just trying to keep control of the football, just ensuring that Launceston didn't have too many opportunities.
So tap one, out from the lines. Here's Bresnahan. She's got better as the game's unfolded. Kicks inside. Really good kick, looking for Johnson. Couldn't complete the grab. Mitchell tries to get it to Williams. Mitchell again here. She might be a sniff. Got it out, but it went into opposing hands. They just fight for it.
In saying that, it's been a winning formula for Clarence. So credit to the coaching group to making that decision of really supporting that half-back line and midfield and going that with their strengths.
So another stoppage. And Clarence won't mind this. Just milk the clock. Make sure no one gets injured. Up it goes again. It's won this time by Hennessy, who's having a little stint in the ruck. Kick comes out of defensive 50, almost gathered by Westland. Not quite. Pierce there. Burn off one, gets a kick away. Mitchell the target. Good. Oh, I almost thought she took the grab, not quite. Just spilt the crucial moment. So 8-7-55 plays 3-3-21. Bresnahan bursting through, hits it with pace. Little pokey ball looking for Mitchell. Interrupted. Clifford now comes in to win the footy. Red and white pole on top. Be a stoppage.
That's been the pleasing thing today, how many different players have really hit the ball at pace. Impressive, backing themselves in. Fantastic work.
So Loams wins it down. Here's Cuthbertson. She's been terrific in a losing side. Gets by a couple with ease. Measured ball. Had to thread the needle between a couple of Clarence players. It comes out the back to Farrell. She just tries to paddle it to herself. Doesn't quite work out. Numbers with the ruse. Oh, miscued handball. It was a hard nut. But no holding the ball cool. So right area of the ground for North Launceston though, as Townsend has a wild swing at it. Doesn't make contact. It's just thrown out virtually by Cornish. Some unconvincing disposals here, but the umpire lets it run. Trying to gather the footy is Farrow. Squeeze out the ball. Here's Bresnahan. She'll try to use her wheels. Look at that. I'll take you on, she says. Kicks towards Blackburn. Nicely done there in the middle by Johnson. Loams over the top. Kicks to vacant space. Brown and McDonald in a foot race. She just pushes over her opposition. Tries to bring it under a spell. It was well fought back by McKinnell. She gets it to a target in Clifford. And they're away and okay. Gathering is Pierce. Come back. Williams almost cut off. Oh, just a wild swing at the ball in the air. Gathered again by Johnson. She's been pretty industrious. Out the side. Sweeping through was Oates. Gets her kick away. Almost. It was off Hancock's hands. She gathers. She'll be helped out eventually. Dumped in a tackle. Will be thrown on in.
Well, they certainly haven't stopped both teams with their desperation for the footy, even though we're only a couple of minutes away from the end of North Launceston's debut season in the competition. But absolute credit to them. They've been fantastic this year.
They have indeed. It's thrown on in. It just bounces to Mitchell and she looks to take toll, but doesn't hit the right part of the footy. Out on the full.
And look who.
Cuthbertson. She's always sniffing around those ones. She'll look to use her foot skills. That's probably her worst kick today. Straight down the throat of Oates. Oates looks up, looking for Mitchell. She arrives, but too late. It was gobbled up by McKinnell.
Well, I don't reckon we've seen up forward enough today. Leading goal kicker for the Bombers.
That is a helicopter kick, but the direction on it was good enough. The arms of Carly Farrow. She pokes over the top. It was almost there for Sophie. Farrow didn't quite gather. Now there's a fight. Monty Scott underneath it all, as he's what we've become accustomed to.
Underrated Bronte Scott, in and under. Does a lot of the hard work that you don't see.
Hennessy with the hit out, and the siren sounds on a big win for the Clarence Roos. They march on into September, 8-7-55. They defeat North Launceston 3-3-21. A pretty polished and professional performance from start to finish, Lee Elder.
Absolutely, quite an impressive display by Clarence. Obviously playing a team that hasn't played finals at this level before, but they were quite superior, especially in that first quarter that really set up their lead. Mel Wise, a little bit surprised, but moved to half-back. Very, very impressive. Normally known being smart around the goals, but she was just superb. Read the play so well and just rebounded so many times for Clarence. Bronte Scott, as I said before, just incredible on the insides. Very impressive game today. A couple of the young players I thought did quite well in Procopice and Oates. I think they were quite impressive today. Of course, Bresnahan just showed a class all day, just sweeping around, and she was the double act with Mel Wise, was quite impressive. Jess Williams, of course, I thought she was showed her talent today, kicked an absolute beauty as well. Nettie Garlow's certainly defensive work, as we said, she needs a bit of work on that disposal, but just got on her hands on the footy and the opponents quite regularly. I thought Georgia Alone, especially in the first half, was actually quite impressive in her role in the ruck. So I think they just had a really good performance. Natalie Pearce as well. Kicks go up in the air a little bit, but she got a lot of the footy. North Launceston should not be disappointed. Hayley Brewer was very important to them. Jodie Clifford really came into the game in the second half. Sophie Townsend did well in the ruck. Bonnie Farrell, deep in defence, was absolutely superb today, but no holding back. Their best performer, Maggie Cuthbertson, she's just a class act.
She's a class act, and so were Clarence Roos. They win this one, 8-7-55, 3-3-21. They march on into September, as I say. North Launceston, their first season in the TSLW ends here, but they've shown a lot in their first year in the competition. We hope you enjoyed today's coverage. We'll be back in not too long with the Bupa TSL live stream between Glenorchy and Lauderdale. Stay with the TSL Facebook page and AFL Tas YouTube for all that action. Bye for now.